to the football rundown. We're here with the end of season League 2 predictions review. So basically going to be going over my League 2 predictions from the beginning of the season to how it finished at the end of the season. Now all I am going to say is this is not a great reflection of me and my football knowledge. My predictions this season have been entirely wrong, to be honest. So I'm waiting for people to come at me in the comment section, to be honest. I've already had a few people comment on the video that I did back in January, and also the video I did back what would have been probably last July or last August, sort of laughing at the positions that I predicted and compared to where the team actually finished. All I would say is when you put your opinion out there online, you are sometimes going to get it right, you are sometimes going to get it wrong, and I have to say this season I've got it very, very wrong with a lot of teams. So I have to hold my hands up to that. What I would say in my defence is, I said at the beginning of the season, my knowledge isn't great. I'm not expecting to get it right. I just gave it a go because I thought it'd be interesting. But I think people would want to see it, and I think people did want to see it. And what I would say is, I think that next season when I do my predictions preview, I think I'll be a lot better, to be honest. So I can say I'm going to have to defend myself, within this, because I don't think anyone's going to do it for me. We're going to start off with what I predicted to be at the bottom half of the League 2 table this season then. So up on the screen now you can see predicted and where the team finished. I've gone with Crawley Town, bottom of the table. I mean, I don't know why. I think a lot of people were saying around that point in time that Crawley were not going to have a very good season. I think there were money issues. I think there were issues with players, getting players in. I think I'm not too sure what all the noise was about, but I was hearing a lot of people saying that Crawley were not going to have a good season, that they were probably going to get relegated, and I just went with that. So on that, to be honest, just followed the crowd on it, and therefore put them at 24th, and obviously look at where they finished, 7th. They're in the playoff spot. So Newport County then 23rd, Colchester 22nd. They actually finished 22nd, so I think that's the only one I've got bang on, apart from another one in the top half of the table. Harrogate I put at 21st. They finished 13th. Wimbledon I had at 20th. They finished a whole 10 positions higher than that. Doncaster Rovers I had at 19th. Now this is one that has come back to bite me on the backside. I think they were around 19th in January as well. So at that point in time I thought, I tell you what, I'm bang on with this prediction. And somehow they've gone some brilliant form at the end of the season. I think they've won 6 or 7 of the last sort of games, back to back consecutively, and they've managed to finish 5th, and they're in the playoffs. And at this point in time, as we're recording, they haven't played any of the games yet in the semi-final of the playoffs. I think that Doncaster probably very, very, much favourites for this now because of the form they've hit on late on in the season. So I have to accept that one I've got completely wrong, 19th, and they're in the playoffs, finishing 5th. So hold my hands up on that one. What on earth am I on about? Then I had Crewe in 18th. This is another one. Crewe in 18th, and they're also in the playoffs, and they finished 6th. So they could also go up to League One next season, potentially. That's another one I've got horrendously wrong. Sutton United had in 17th. They finished 23rd and were relegated, and absolutely deserving so as well. They was absolutely shocking this season. Walsall I had in 16th. They finished 11th. Tranmere Rovers I had in 15th. They finished 16th. Not too bad, that one, to be fair. Swindon Town I had in 14th. They finished 19th. So again, five places off where I expected. 13th place I had Grimsby Town. They finished 21st. So you can see I've not got a lot of my predictions very well in the bottom half of the table, so God knows what it's going to like at the top of the table. But yeah, it's just not been a brilliant season for me in terms of predictions, in terms of the beginning of the season to how it's panned out. So like I say, it can only get better next season. Kick-starting then the top half of the table, I had AFC Barrow in 12th. They went on to finish 8th and nearly made the playoff places. To be honest, they probably should have got in the playoff places, given the fact that they're hovering around them positions for a large part of the season. Accrington Stanley had an 11th, they finished 17th, so another one that got horrendously wrong. And now this one here in 10th, I think has probably got to be the worst prediction I ever made. Why on earth did I decide to put Forest Green in 10th place when they finished rock bottom, 24th in the table? The only logic I can think of, and I haven't watched my explanation back on this, is that they were relegated from League One. I thought that they would probably have some decent players and they would hold their own in League Two. I was completely wrong. They brought in a player from Coventry who missed the penalty to go up to the Premier League. I thought he might be decent for him. He's obviously not been able to do too much. I think the biggest thing he achieved at Forest Green this season is having an argument with Troy Deeney, and now he's just been released as well at the end of this season for Forest Green. So I got it completely wrong with them. 10th place, and they finished rock bottom relegated. So I think that's got to be the worst one that I got on this prediction, to be honest. Then Gillingham, ninth. A lot of noise was about them. A lot of people expecting them to do better. A lot of people are saying that they'd had, I think they'd had an American investment. They were going to spend money well, and I think a lot of people were expecting them to get in the playoffs, to be honest, or push for promotion. That hasn't been the case. They finished 12th. Not the worst prediction when I said ninth, considering that's only 2 or 3 places off. So I'm not as disappointed with that one, but it's still not right, is it? Then Morecambe, I put in 8th. They've had a really, really difficult season. They finished 15th in the table, and it could be a really difficult couple of years for the future of that football club, to be honest, which is quite sad. We spoke about it on the, second or third to last game of the season when we faced them at Edgeley Park. The trouble they're having at the moment, with the ownership, the captain calling out the owner and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of problems at Morecambe at the moment. They finished 15th, as I say, disappointing season. But it's scary for the future of that football club with what's going on. So hopefully they can get it sorted. Mansfield Town, I put in 7th. I think I actually said they might just about creep into the playoffs. What on earth was I on about? They finished 3rd. They were 2nd for a lot of the season. They pushed County quite hard. They've dropped into 3rd on the last game of the season. They've been a brilliant side in League 2 this season. The fact that I said they were finished 7th is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. Then in 6th place, I had Salford City. I mean, again, what on earth am I thinking? Salford City have had a terrible season this season. They finished 20th. That's a whole 14 places off where I expected them to finish. I was expecting a lot of things from Salford this season, to be honest, given the fact that they've pushed and been in the top half of the table for League 2 over the last few seasons, given the fact that obviously Stockport County faced them in the playoff semi-final last season. I thought that Salford might have had it in them to push hard this season and try and get in the the playoffs again. It just hasn't been the case. They've let a lot of talent go over the summer. I mean, 2 or 3 players have come to County. They let a player go to Wrexham in January. A lot of their better players have gone, and they haven't been able to replace them players, and that's why it's backfired on them massively. However, what I would say is they saved themselves at the end of the season. They managed to avoid relegation with the brilliant appointment, to be honest, of Carl Robinson, who's very well thought of throughout the EFL. I thought it was a brilliant appointment from their point of view, and I did think that he would keep them out of relegation, and he managed to do that. Be interesting to see what they do next season. 5th place, I had MK Dons. Now, that's not too bad. They finished 4th, so I'm quite happy with that prediction, to be honest. I didn't think MK Dons were going to go up automatically. I did think they'd go through the playoffs, and they may well do go up through the playoffs because they obviously they're in the playoffs. They've got an opportunity, and it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I think Doncaster are probably the favourites at this point in time, but MK Dons are a really strong side as well. And to be honest, I think if you're going to ask me who's going to go up, it's one of them two. It's either Doncaster or MK Dons for me. Now, I've said that the Forest Green prediction's probably the worst one I've made this season. I think that this one's pretty high up on the list as well. Notts County. I had them to finish 4th this season. They finished 14th in the table. It's been a nightmare season for Notts County, a side that would have hoped to try and push for promotion this season. I don't think they would have expected it because they've just come up with Wrexham this season, but I certainly think they would have had expectations to try and push for promotion, push for playoffs, try and get high up the table, and that just hasn't been the case. They were a brilliant side for maybe the first half of the season. The football they played, they were a team that liked to keep the ball. Very, very good in possession under Luke Williams, but then when he moved on to Swansea in January, Notts County have just fallen apart. They've absolutely crumbled. And whilst they've had individual brilliance from players like Geordie Jones and Macaulay Langstaff and others, I think Macaulay Langstaff finished, as the highest scorer in League 2 as well, 28 plus goals in League 2 this season. He's been absolutely brilliant. Notts County haven't been brilliant, and therefore they flattered to deceive, and they did finish 14th, despite me thinking they would finish 4th. Now, in 3rd, I had Wrexham. I think I literally titled the video "Why Wrexham Won't Win the League." I never thought that Wrexham were going to win the league, to be honest, and that's 100% honest. That's 100% genuine. I just didn't think they were going to do it. The idea that they would come up from the National League, walk straight into League 2 and win the title, I never thought was possible. And to be honest, I don't think they were ever top of the table for any point. I don't even think they spent 5 seconds at the top of the table this season. Wrexham, don't get me wrong, they're obviously a quality side, but I never really feared them being at the top of the table. I always thought they were a team that could get promoted. I think near the end of the season, I looked at where they were and I said they could well finish outside and they could well finish 4th, but obviously they managed to get 2nd in the end. So that 3rd place predicted finish doesn't look too bad given the fact that I think they were 3rd going into the final game of the season, and of course they managed to finish 2nd. So that prediction wasn't too bad, to be fair on my part. Now we get to 2nd place where we have Bradford City. I mean, this is embarrassing. They finished the season in 9th, and I think that looks better than what their season's been. To be honest, they've been awful this season, Bradford, and for large parts of the season they've been way at the bottom of the table, around positions like 15th, 16th in the table. Bradford this season have been in, and late on in the season they managed to get into 9th in the table. But I think that doesn't tell the full story of Bradford this season in League Two. I expect them to go far. I expect them to push. I expect them to be promoted this season, based on the fact that they were in the playoffs last season. And I don't know what's happened. Maybe Bradford fans can give me a better idea of what's happened for them this season. But it's just been a disaster. As I say, they should have been a team that would have been expecting to go and be promoted, or certainly push for promotion. And once they finished 9th in the end, and they did nearly have a chance to get in the playoffs last minute, they were never really, really in the conversation, to be fair. And like I say, not been a good season for them, and it's completely wrong, my prediction. 7 places off, but in the end, really, it should have been more. Then we go to top of the table. Who did I predict to be League 2 champions this season? I'm just going to... I don't know. Who won the league? Was it Stockport County by any chance? It absolutely was. And I 100% thought this. I didn't just put County top because I'm backing Stockport County because they're my team. I genuinely thought we were very, very close, in terms of getting to that automatic position near the end of last season. We missed out on the final day. Then, of course, we missed out in the playoff final on penalties. I thought that we were very, very close to promotion on 2 occasions last season. And I absolutely thought, this team is capable, this manager's capable. We are going to finish as champions this season, and we will be promoted. Don't get me wrong, there were moments, possibly around February and March, where I think we lost that position, where I looked at the injury situation, I started to panic a little bit, but then we suddenly found that form out of nowhere, and we managed to go on and win the title, which I think was overall, over the course of the season, was absolutely deserved, and it has been a fantastic season to watch as well. So obviously I predicted us to go up as champions, and we've done just that. It's been absolutely fantastic this season, and I can't wait for League One either. So just before we cut this video short, we're just going to have a little bit of a summary over the League 2 season. So I expected Stockport County to win the league title this season. They did just that, and it became their first EFL title since 1967. Wrexham achieved promotion with their highest ever points total in an EFL season. Mansfield still managed their promotion hopes despite dropping into the final automatic position on the final day. MK Dons, Doncaster Rovers, Crewe and Crawley have all made it into the playoffs, despite the fact I placed all of them, bar MK Dons, in the bottom half at the beginning of the season, and even said that Crawley would be relegated. AFC Barrow narrowly missed out on the playoffs despite giving it a good go. It'll be interesting to see how they respond next season. Bradford had a season to forget, parting ways with Mark Hughes early on in the season, but managed to pull themselves back in with a late attempt to reach the playoffs. Many expected Gillingham to achieve bigger things this season, and they'll be disappointed with how the season's gone. With Neil Harris being sacked in October, the Gills would finish 12th under Stephen Clements, who has now also been sacked once the season finished. Notts County have certainly not been boring in League 2 this season. Despite pre-season ambitions to challenge for promotion, they've fallen well short of that with a 14th place finish, and many probably wishing Luke Williams never made the jump to Swansea in January. Salford City have had their worst season since the takeover the Class of 92 in 2014. After last season's playoff semi-final defeat at Edgeley Park, the Ammies have failed to replace key talent that moved on in the summer. They finished 20th and are hoping to, in the words of club CEO Nicky Butt, find a way of being like Stockport and get out of this league. That will be made more difficult by the departure of goalscorer Matt Smith, who has left on a free transfer this summer. Colchester United survived as I thought they would. The appointment of Danny Cowley was a masterstroke, and he kept them in the league. If he stays on, I'm sure he'll take them up again next season. Sutton United ended their 3-year stay in the EFL. After finishing 8th, 14th and now 23rd, they go again in the National League. Forest Green, from start to finish this season, has been nothing short of an absolute disaster. Since going up as champions to League 1 2 years ago, it's only been down from there, relegating in back-to-back seasons, ending their 7-year stay in the Football League. They'll now have to have a dabble in the National League. From a county perspective, it's been a pleasure, and I can't wait for League 1 already. Thanks to all the support over this season. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, don't forget to like the video, of course. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, thanks for watching.